In this episode of It Came From My Side of the Laundry Room, I get into the Christmas spirit and I take a look at one of the weirdest Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle role-playing game books that ever came out. So, stick around. Welcome to this week's episode of It Came From My Side of the Laundry Room. And like I said, I want to get into the Christmas spirit, and, well, it's my life. It's my life. Last time I did It's My Life, I brought you some of my favorite Halloween decorations I love putting up around the house. But this time, I want to take a look at some of my favorite Christmas ornaments. Now, nowadays, dork stuff and Christmas go hand in hand, but at one time that was unheard of. Now, the first thing I'll show you is probably, nowadays, Star Wars and Christmas are synonymous with each other. But in 1998, things were a little bit different. But here, I'm assuming, is probably the first Hallmark Boba Fett ornament. And it's weird because it's not very dynamic. It's very together. He's not stretched out. His arm and hand are actually molded into the side. And he's very close with his blaster. It's very odd. He does have his cape, which is neat. It's a piece of burlap there. And he's got his jetpack. But nowadays, you can find Boba Fett ornaments from Hallmark at Walmart for cheap. And they're a lot more dynamic than this, in bigger poses. But like I said, this one's very, streamlined. Cheap molding. Probably because they didn't know how well it would sell. So they didn't really go whole hog on a big mold for it. But look at that. Dang, I never noticed that before. The Mandalore emblem there is upside down. I don't know if that comes across or if that's too blurry. But I've never noticed that before. Huh. Maybe it's a collector's item. Anyway, to stay on the Star Wars theme for a second, these were more recent. My wife got me these because she knows I love them. But these Ewoks. You got Wicked and Tebow, I believe, here. Great detail on his helmet, if you will, his cowl. Got a knife there. Got a horn. But great sculpting. A big difference from the Boba Fett. Look at that. In his almost famous pose. But, the fur is well sculpted. The shading in his cowl is really nice. And excuse me, I don't believe in just buying hooks. So I use paper clips on a lot of them. As silly as that is, but I have my own tree downstairs, just outside the door here to the laundry room, that I get to put all my great stuff on, and of course I have to buy my kids dork ones as well. So that's where we keep ours, and our upstairs tree is kept classy. But anyway, it's no surprise I'm a big Donald Duck fan. So I've had Donald Duck ornaments for years. And the funny thing is, I don't know if it was before Hallmark or at the same time, and I'm not going to showcase any of these because I mean they're good sculpts, but you could pick up Donald Duck ornaments that were pretty nice at your local CVS. You know, they weren't Hallmark super duper expensive ones. They were pretty well reasonably priced, but like I said, I might showcase those another day, just when I want to talk about Donald stuff. But here's a couple of my favorite Donalds from over the years. And this one is from 2008, so this is a more recent one, well, 10 years ago. But here's Donald trying to put together a bike. As you can see, he's not doing that great. He's got the instructions in one hand, holding a wrench. And it says, "Oh, what fun." But I think that's cute. I always like that one. And it's nice if you can see it here, but the instructions actually have pictures of the diagram of putting the bike together. Easy to assemble instructions. And of course it's like an IKEA, just with pictures and dots, and very confusing. Here's another one. This one is from, doesn't say, but it's a Hallmark. But here's Donald in his little roadster. It's great. The wheels actually move. Kind of have an old school Donald face on it, kind of with the elongated bill. But I've had this one for a long time, and I just love it. It's very colorful, great design on Donald. And speaking of the long bill design, here's one from Mickey the Conductor, I think the short is. When the tornado comes while they're all playing. And surprisingly, I have the Mickey as the Conductor, and that actually came out last year. But this one, let's see if I can find a date on it. I'd say somewhere in the mid to late 90s. It doesn't say. It just has a number saying what number in the series of Donalds it is. But great design, very colorful. The longer bill of the old design of Donald. And a great pose, just very dynamic. It's in movement. Here's another one from 97. So this is number 1 of the series, and that's number 3. So I would assume that's like a 99, I guess, him playing the cymbals. But here Donald is accidentally wrapping himself in a gift. And I just love the expression on his face. It's a great mold, great sculpt. But the colors are kind of muted compared to some of the newer ones. Now, getting to another recent one. This is one that came out last year. And it's not Donald specific, but it's just really cool. Now, to show you this side, it does have Donald. But look, it's a mini lunchbox, a little mini metal lunchbox. But you got nice Donald and the nephews scene there. Here you got Mickey and the nephews with Pluto. And then on the side, Mickey, Minnie, Pluto, Donald, Daisy, Goofy. But what's neat is you open it up, and I still have this wrapped in the plastic. But it comes with a mini thermos. Almost looks like a thing of chapstick. But you can see there's even the handle there. And it shows the picture of Mickey with the nephews and Pluto. But I thought that was really cool. A neat homage, if you will, to the days of the metal lunchbox. And this is probably, now I don't know, I mean, it's a reproduction of a real one. Oh, even has an old, this box belongs to our pal, and then you put your name, and it's Mickey and Donald. But it's probably an old 60s design, probably. Now, this, let's see a year on this. 2006. And this is Mickey, Donald, and Goofy. And if it works here, excuse me if it's too loud.
Okay, one more time, and then we gotta get to sleep. Santa's coming, you know. Yep, then we get really good at this.
But I love this. Every time I walk past the tree, I just have to hit the button. I think it plays different ones.
Okay, fellas, hit it.
But I love that it's even animated.
Gosh, Donald, you sing Christmas carols real pretty.
But Goofy's foot taps, Mickey goes back and forth playing the piano, and Donald rocks back and forth on the top of the piano. Let's see if I can show you
Okay,
Goofy's
fellas,
foot
here we
tapping.
go. Especially the way we play it. Yep.
But back in the day, this, I mean, it was costly, but not as extravagant as the ones nowadays. You get a TIE fighter that lights up and they want $40 for it. But back then, I think it was only like 1995. Here's another older one with some music. This is from 2011. And this is from the short The Clock Washers. This one's probably going to be a little bit harder for me to show because you got to move the crank here. Probably get in trouble for a copyright on this song, but even Goofy here in the back. There's gears inside the clock. It lights up. Back here you can see the springs and cogs and great stuff. Donald's hanging off the side, trying to fix it. Goofy's got a gear in his hand with a ladder, and Mickey's cleaning the front. But another great one I love, just gets me in the Christmas spirit. Now, to get away from the Disney stuff, these are my crown jewels, if you will, of my ornament collection. These came out in 2009, I believe, or 2005, sorry. And it was two of them, but they came out in different years after each other, but they're both labeled the same year, which is weird. So I don't know which one came first. So let me start with the other one. But Godzilla ornament. Around the base you have all the great monsters. There's Rodan, King Ghidorah, Mothra, Mechagodzilla, a couple different Mechagodzilla, Space Godzilla, Batra. but always... Oh no, the batteries are gone. Let's see what kind it takes. Of course, there's expensive watch batteries, but we'll have to try to find those one day. But believe me, it's cool. It plays Godzilla's theme, like you hear at the top of the show. But it's a neat sculpt. He has the ears, kind of like the Art Adams style, which is always my favorite. I think it's like the Godzilla 2000 style. But he's got buildings crumbling that are on springs here. He moves a little bit. And like I said, the base has great pictures of some of the other monsters of the Godzilla universe. Sorry the batteries are dead. I wish they weren't. I'm going to have to spend a fortune getting those big fat watch batteries. Now this one, great font and molding on the Godzilla there, and then on the other side it says King of the Monsters. And he's breathing fire down on the city here. And let's see if this one will work. Oh my goodness. I guess after 13 years, it finally has given up. Whoa, watch batteries went flying everywhere. Well, I'll just keep them out then. But if it worked, you would have heard the iconic Godzilla yell, his battle cry, and blue light would shoot down this flame, wait a second, and then this part would glow yellow, which is really neat how it's timed. Like he's breathing it and then it explodes. It all just doesn't light up at the same time. But great sculpt. Another one where he has his ears, huge tail wrapped around. Very disappointed that I am not able to show you either of the sound effects on these. But like even down on the street here, if you can see, there's little cars and stuff molded in. But these are from Carlton Cards. And Carlton Cards was more into the dork nostalgia game than Hallmark was at one time. I mean, if I could go back in time, I would get them. But they had a whole series of Transformer ornaments way before Hallmark even thought about that. They had, I think, even Strawberry Shortcake and some of the other Carlton creations. But I think they even had like G.I. Joe ornaments. See, like I said, I wish I could go back in time and get them. But that just, I mean, ornaments weren't really on my radar at that time. I mean, I was too busy buying toys and comics to jump into that game, but I wish I would have. I mean, Donald was always on my radar because it's hard to find Donald memorabilia. So getting those in ornament form was one of the only ways you could get Donald stuff. Anyway, now that I looked at those, let's take a look at a commercial.
Only from Atari. Made especially for systems from Atari. The video game that lets you help E.T. get home. Just in time for Christmas. Happy holidays from Atari.
Welcome back from the commercial break. Now, let's dive into saving throws. This time on Saving Throws, we're going to take a look at what is probably the weirdest TMNT and other Strangeness role-playing game book that ever came out. And that's saying something. I think I may have mentioned last time when I did Turtles Go Hollywood that that was pretty weird, but this takes the cake. This came out in 1989. And I believe this was probably, well, it is the last book to include the Turtles from Palladium Games. And it's Truckin' Turtles. And if you can see by that, the ninjas, well, they look like Shriners, but we'll get into that when we dive into the book. The art this time around, not the best. And I just think they didn't put their best foot forward because they knew that the license was drying up. But in this one, the Turtles go on another road trip. Now, oddly, this came out after Turtles Go Hollywood, but this would have been, in my opinion, the book that led into that, because this is about them taking a road trip. And there's a couple different locations, but the point is they go west. First off, the campaign starts with the Turtles saving a trucker from your typical 80s looking gang here. Got mohawks and weird hair. And then you go from New York to Pennsylvania. Oh, it even talks about Carlisle. It says the load chocolate chips. Now, in my opinion, they would have stopped at Hershey for something like that, but they're talking about Carlisle, PA, which is cool because I live in PA now. But it goes into, from that, setting up this part of the campaign to the trouble with ninjas. And here's your first look of the ninja with a fez, like the Shriners, which is just odd, very odd. But now this takes the cake. In one of the little Shriner cars, which honestly I haven't seen a Shriner in a parade in years, decades. But you got your stats for your typical ninja henchman, a typical goon, and then the journey goes to Ohio, Indiana, Illinois. And they stop at a burger joint called Burger Heaven. And this chapter in the campaign is called Stop at Burger Heaven or Fast Food Hell. And it's a haunted burger joint. And let's see here. The entity called the fast food burger being is made up of packaging, cutlery, a mask of the burger mascot. But I mean, that's pretty creepy, but it's starting to borderline be silly. And I just wonder if you had a group of writers that were taking the subject matter very seriously for many years with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and other Strangeness, and all of a sudden the cartoon comes out, the turtle cartoon, And it's silly. I mean, honestly, it is. So I wonder if the writers are like, oh crap, this is what people want, silly turtles. So they tried their hand at being silly with something that they used to take very seriously. Because, well, there's other things. I mean, the Shriners, this weird fast food ghost. Now they go to St. Louis and run into some more ninjas. And Super Mutant Joseph. He has two superhuman powers, mimic and extraordinary physical endurance. And then Carl Wilson, the leader of Cow. Now, what is Cow? I missed that earlier. Now I'm curious. Hold on a second. Excuse me, sorry. Just really curious to what that could stand for. Truck is hijacked. There's a mention of cow. K-O-W. The Knights of White. Well, it's a skinhead group, apparently, a neo-Nazi white supremacist group. Like I said, they are balancing seriousness with silliness. But anyway, here's the leader of that group, this big skinhead douche here. You gotta save this poor lady from. But then, from that, the next chapter is A Close Encounter of the Supervillain Kind. And you fight Enertron, the energy alien. He has energy powers, which include energy absorption, draining, impervious to fire, heat, electricity, lasers, and similar types of energy. Can make himself glow, shoot beams of light, a contemporary blind, energy flash. Ooh, that inflicts damage. And an energy discharge. He has two minor powers of energy expulsion. Ooh, 66 damage. Nice. But anyway, here's a picture of him. And like I said, the art isn't really that great in this book. Like I said, I just don't think they were putting forth tremendous money and effort because they knew they were losing the license. Meet this new guy. It's a little pica. I guess you meet him in the Colorado area. And they give you a new mutant animal, the pica. And here's a bad guy one that has, whoops, more human looks. And then the final battle at the OK Corral, where you go to a ghost town and fight a robot sheriff, which there's no pictures of, unfortunately. And here's a picture of one of the turtles hitting one of the Shriner Ninja dudes. Here's a picture of them yet again. Ooh, that looks very dark. There we go. In the Game Master section, you get stats on typical ninja henchman, a typical goon, enemy vehicles, An assault helicopter. Oh my gosh. Using maps. Optional tables. Traffic congestion. Random traffic tables. Random encounters of a hostile nature. Optional crash table. Ooh, if you roll a 1 or a 2 a 5, energy or engine on fire. Wow. Wow, these are all pretty serious. Different rules on different truck stops, cafes, tavern, bars, pool halls. Non-human characters on the road. And then a page in a lot of these books that I just obsessed over. A listing of their other games. Got the pre-order info for Rifts. But this isn't anything compared to what's coming in the summer of 1990. And that's for sure, because they put a lot of stock into Rifts. That was their big thing. And I think it probably still is. It's a fun world, just a little overpowered, in my opinion. But anyway, that was a look at Truckin' Turtles. Like I said, one of the weirdest TMNT and other Strangeness role-playing game books. But anyway, thanks for watching. Keep being rad, stay dorky, and I'll catch you next time. Thank you for watching this episode presented by My Side of the Laundry Room. Please check out some of these other recommended videos, and if you enjoyed what you've watched, please hit the subscribe button. You can also follow on Twitter, like on Facebook, and read up on My Side of the Laundry Room at our blog. Thanks for watching. Until next time, keep being rad and stay dorky.